The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv after a holiday. And I guess the holiday weekend, we had shots fired on Quikasham Street.
Why not? Let's add some more.
Why not? But we don't advertise it. Remember, unless there's a death, it's not news.
Right.
So I don't even know if that made the paper, but we have our sources. Yeah. But again, Fall River makes the news for shots fired.
As usual.
We're lucky there's a Chicago because we pale by comparison.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's for sure.
So
interesting.
What? Wait a minute. What's interesting here?
Oh, I'm doing the follow the money routine right now.
Yes, follow the money, and let's get a little snapshot of following the money.
Seems like a lot of contractors or people associated with the Durfee project are giving Paul money, including Suffolk Construction, which gave $1,000. And I'm looking over, and it's funny because I'm looking over this and I'm seeing names within city government. Mary Sahadi, $250.
Yeah, well, you want to keep your job, you want to get your pay raises, you keep paying. Remember, part of his accomplishments is he's making the city and the employment agency. He made a job. We're supposed to be trying to shrink government, and he's applying the school department a method of always creating new jobs to spend money because you can get more aid, more net school spending. Then we can have deans of students in the middle school, which is unheard of.
One of the things I'm also noticing a lot of is there are a lot of donations from Bay Coast Bank employees. Now, we've seen this in the past with another company in Fall River.
Yes.
Where a lot of employees were giving money. And I'm not saying this is happening, so let's make this very clear. I'm not saying this is happening, but those people were reimbursed for their donations to political campaigns. That way they could circumvent the $1,000 cap. But I mean, it's interesting. Business Development Officer, Bay Coast Bank. Nick Chris gave $1,000 already. Corey Excavating. There's another one. $625. He knocks down the buildings for the city of Fall River. Is this how we keep our contracts going? Not that I want to deny anybody the right to support their candidates, but it looks quid pro quo. It looks that way. And we've seen this before.
Oh yeah. And look, I have seen there are always methods, and that's how politicians, that's what's wrong with the system. These people, money is the driver, and they manage to extricate money from people in devious ways. And this is not a theoretical either, because I can tell you from actual, I'll tell you a little story. A long time ago, we had a guy that used to play handball with at the boys' club. Was a bus driver. He's now retired. And he was complaining to me one time about he used to get 10 tickets to the mayor's Christmas party every year. And at that time, it was a lot of money. It was $125 party. And he had to sell 10 of them every year. And he complained, and I said, well, why are you complaining? He said, well, I get them every year. Ever since I got my job, I have to do this. I said, well, you had political influence to get your job, and now you're on the hook as long as this guy's in office. And unfortunately, he didn't like it, but he had to do it. And this is what happens with these contractors. You want to continue to do business, you better show you better, pony up the money. And I know that there were actual politicians who are now retired who kept little black books of who gave them money and who didn't get money. They didn't have to go and look at their campaign finance report. They had everything noted of who did and who didn't. And when you walked in to see them, they opened up their little book and saw what side of the ledger you were on. That's one of the problems we have with politics. And we have obviously we have a very close relationship with Nick Crisp and this guy because he bankrolled the school debt override, and it's not coincidental. And of course, that's the way this goes, and that's an unfortunate, part of politics. So, hey, it is what it is. But it's always good, as we said, ironically enough, about 8 or 9 years ago. It's been a long time we've been on the air, but we said on our first show, follow the money, and we're still following the money. And it always leads back to to the political ticks. And like you said, I don't have any objection to supporting a candidate. I've supported candidates in the past that I felt were doing a good job. I don't give them $1,000 though, but I'll go to something. And I haven't done it in a while, but I would support people I really believe will do the job. But to give people money expressly to pay to play is wrong.
Right, I agree with you. And hopefully we're not seeing that at this point in time. But I'll tell you now, if that is what's happening, OCPF is very good at flushing that out. They look for it, and they're very good at flushing it out. I'm looking at some of these donations, and we see this a lot. Husband and wife teams. That's the way to circumvent the $1,000 cap. You give 1,000, your wife gives 1,000. That's it. You're all set. Is that wrong? Is that right? Hey, if both of them support him, that's a wonderful thing. But if they don't, what do you do?
Well, we go back to Primacare. Even the janitors made $500 donations.
Right.
So you're not going to tell me a janitor who's not making a lot of money. They're not the doctors. But Primacare used to give massive donations, and they had virtually every employee that worked for them giving a donation. So it's hard for me to reconcile the fact that every single janitor in that building will give $500 to a political candidate without being reimbursed. So you can say it's an allegation, but I don't know if you could prove it unless the feds want to investigate it and put them under the heat lamp and question them, break them down. But look, we know this goes on, and this is the problem with politics on every level. It's all about two things: money and power. Most congressional candidates and senators spend more time. They're actually required to do fundraising for the party, not for themselves, but for the party. And this is everything that's wrong with politics, and we see it on a national level, where Democrats gavel down the reading of the 13 names of the men and women in uniform who died attempting to save people in Afghanistan, and that is reprehensible and inexcusable. It's even worse than having a school tour on 9/11.
I agree. No argument for me. But let me switch focus for a second. Do you know that we have a real political hack coming to Fall River?
Why doesn't that surprise me? You'll have to be
actually, excuse me, let me correct that. Not coming to Fall River, coming to Worcester, but coming to Massachusetts nonetheless. McGovern brought this political hack here. And it's one of your favorite people.
Oh, God. Who? Which one?
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, my God. That's nauseating.
So Nancy Pelosi will be in Worcester tomorrow.
Well, boy, is Worcester unlucky. All you people in Worcester, remember one thing. That woman is going to look down her nose at you, and while she's spewing her trash, unless you're going to a $30,000 a plate dinner like she had in Napa, unless you eat $15 a pint ice cream, you're just dirt and gum under her high heels. Because if you don't think these elitists think you're nothing, you better get your head out of your rectum.
It's definitely
because
interesting.
That's the way they think. Nancy Pelosi, that decrepit, totally out of touch idiot, just like her buddy Schumer. All the Americans have been out. Wait a minute. We have to revise that statement. I misspoke. No, you political hack. You were talking about the party line. You were thinking about Joe Biden a month ago when he said he would not leave Afghanistan until every American was out, and we have Americans stranded on an airfield, and the State Department is blocking them. We need special operations teams. Retired special operations teams are in there rescuing Americans while our State Department is doing nothing. They're begging the Taliban. So this is what you got. These left wingers think you're nothing. You know, AOC, they're all millionaires. Private school growing up, private college, and now she thinks she's the cat's butt. They all look down at you. If you don't think this is not about, it's not even about politics. This is about class. This is a class war. They don't care about working people. Never did, never will. And as I said, I think on one of the last shows, I said, go back and look at Malcolm X's speech, Ballots or Bullets. It's on YouTube. Just put in Malcolm X, Ballots or Bullets. It's a long speech. It's about 51 or 52 minutes. 1964, he talks about how the Democratic Party are a pack of lying sacks of shit. And all they do is tell you you're going to do something, and they don't do anything for the people they claim to be helping, because you're nothing to them. And I didn't say it. A black man said it. A black man said it about the way they treat blacks. Watch the speech. That's all I can tell you. You people allow these people to con you from now till doomsday. So do your own homework, as we say. And while I'm going to quickly segue, we have, and please watch the debate tonight on the channel. You're going to watch.
I was going to mention that,
because our non-Perel team will be there. Steve and Keith and these people will ensure that you get great coverage of tonight's debate, and the debate will speak for itself because you'll see it live on 95.
It will also be aired on the station's website, and it will be aired on Facebook. So there really is no reason why anyone should miss this speech. And I'm sure, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, I'm sure that Channel 95 will replay that debate several times over before the election, because they've done that in the past. I'm not trying to commit the station to that, but they've done that several times in the past. So I'm assuming they will do it again this time, but never assume.
It's true. But...
And Friday, there's the Portuguese debate.
Yeah, that's true.
And it is translated, so you can get information. If you don't speak Portuguese, you can still watch it. Now, here's the thing. Today's debate is 1 hour long. 1 hour long. And from what I was told by sources, the mayor did not want to do a 2-hour debate. But the Portuguese debate is 2 hours. It has to be, because the translation takes up so much time. So Is the mayor going to leave halfway through that debate if he can't do a 2-hour debate?
Who knows? He may have more important things to do. But I just got a message from Steve. They will re-air that debate, and just let's remember that what a great benefit this is for the people that they are airing this debate, because there's nothing like watching something in real time and then looking at something with the faces and the body language and everything else. And they're doing a great service for the community by televising these debates, because a lot of people just don't want to go down even when the debates are in a large area, because normally the auditorium is filled with partisan supporters and they're going to get in between. They don't know what side to sit on. It's like, oh God, why I sit on this side or that side? I just want to listen to the debate. And you can sit in the comfort of your home and watch this debate and listen. And if it re-airs again, you can watch it again and again and again. So
we had some fun doing our debates. So,
yeah. And hopefully we will have one after the primary.
Yeah. I know that we're talking right now on setting up a date. And, for the candidates who are watching, we're going to set the date, and you're going to have to fit it into your schedule, not fit it into our schedule. And by the way, it's not the people's debate that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the state and city Democratic committees are sponsoring a debate. They've asked us to actually be the organizers of the debate. So we're doing that. And I'm telling you now, as we did with the people's debate, we set the date, you fit it into your schedule. And that works. That works. We don't answer any special requests. We never did. We don't provide the questions. We don't do any of that. I don't know if these other venues or debate organizers are handling special requests or are doing anything special to assist the candidates or to accommodate them. But that's the way they run their show. The thing is the important part of every debate is to not only listen, because listening is important, but if you can see their body language, if they're sitting there and they're going with their hands, if they're looking at their watch, which we know the mayor does, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. So keep your eye on what the candidates are doing during their answers of the debate, because that's going to be very important.
And obviously, listen closely for ideas. I mean, you can watch the debate, but I'm listening to campaign ads, and what they're doing is rehashing things that are totally irrelevant. I will be a full-time mayor. It's not a ceremonial position. That's already been explained numerous times. Poor choice of words, but regardless of that, run on your record. What have you done as full-time mayor? You created a job in a city government. It's not your job to make this city an employment agency. And by the way, how many of those jobs were given to people that lived in Fall River? We know 2 people from Seekonk traipsed over here. We got an entry-level position that was given to a Seekonk resident. We had a position in the law department given to somebody from Seekonk. We've had people that we had a report that it was alleged, and I would say alleged, that there was an individual who virtually wasn't even a United States citizen that got a job in City Hall. And we've seen a lot of jobs given to a lot of people who don't even live in the city of Fall River. So don't say that growing government is a plus. It shows you from the school department, Paul, because that's what you think is success, creating more jobs for your friends, because that's what the school department does. That's how we ended up with a dean of students for children, middle school. A dean of students. When was the first time you ever saw a dean of students, CJ? And I'll pose that question to the mayor, because he obviously he went to college, because he supposedly has a degree, but I never saw a dean of students when I was in grammar school, middle school, high school, or anything. I saw a dean of students when I was in college.
That's right.
But this is what school departments do on the ed reform. That's why we always say that education reform should be reformed. And that is not something that is an achievement. That is actually a negative. Growing our budget means more taxes. Tightening our budget means less taxes. So let's hear some plans from everybody. I know there's one candidate who's a peripheral candidate that supposedly was on the radio, and I missed it. I think you heard part of it. But he had a whole bunch of plans. You may not agree with them, but that guy had a ton of plans.
I have to give him, that was Albernaz. That was Albernaz. And I mean, one of the great ideas he presented, which I think was wonderful, I wish we could do it that way, is to put in the tax bills a questionnaire type form to actually say where your tax money goes. 20% to education, or 0% to education, 50% to public safety, where the money actually goes. This way, the people are setting those departments' budgets. Yeah. And that's what would happen. And that's why they don't do that, because then they lose control of how they can spend their money. Because the people are taking control, saying, no, you can't spend your money that way. But that was a great idea from Albernaz. I got to give him that.
Well, as you said, and we've said this before, that when we had that charter, and those people basically said certain people shouldn't even be allowed, that elitist attitude. Certain people shouldn't be allowed to even run, because if they can't get 300 signatures, they don't belong in the election. Well, as you know, that my philosophy is you should have one signature, your own. You want to run for office, let us hear your ideas, because some people get. But that's truly the government. You're allowing the people, they elect you, but you're still their representative. So now you ask them how they want to spend their money. But see, politicians don't really want to hear that. They just want to get elected and then do whatever the hell they want until the next election cycle. And then they'll say, remember, I'm a full-time mayor. I probably didn't do anything, but guess what? I never really thought I'd see this. I thought the best campaign I ever saw was when Will Flanagan ran for his second term, and he said, re-elect me. I know I totally screwed up everything in my first term, but I'll do better. And he got elected.
That's right. But he was honest.
But yeah, he was honest. I think it was like, look, I know I was a total screw up in my first term. I screwed virtually everything up, but I'm going to do better. Elect me. And he was a personable guy. So now we see another campaign, not on issues, on a internal memo, on a semantic issue, taking a word and running around with that word, waving it, rather than running on, you've been in for 2 years. Show me how you saved us real money. Not you created a couple of jobs in City Hall. I don't want the budget to grow. Look, I'll be perfectly frank. I'm not hiding it. I'm a small government guy. I believe in as little government as possible. To me, a government's here to provide me services. And I want public safety, I want education, and I want as few people at the top as possible. I want people who provide services to me, the taxpayer.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on me. That's right. I'm definitely not a Democrat.
Shame on you. How can these elected politicians, pay back their friends, giving them cushy jobs, some that they don't even show up for? Because we do know that there's still somebody working in city government that doesn't even show up for work.
Well, see, that therein lies. That's kind of a paradox, because if you're working and you don't show up to work, are you really not working? Because you do have a job. But if you're not required to show up, is it, that's like a, that's like a catch-22. I do have a job. Well, when's the last time you went there? I think like 10 years ago, I think I stopped in. But this is what we've got. And that's why it's up to you people. We've got a primary election in the not too distant future coming up on the 21st. Get out there and vote. Vote.
Less than 2 weeks.
Vote on issues. Vote on who's going to make this government responsive to you, the people, or as Mr. Albanese said, check the box that gives you a priority. You're a priority to that individual. If you don't think you're a priority, if he's got a lot of banker friends and lawyer friends and he's an elitist, I wouldn't vote for him because he's looking down his nose at you.
That's true. That's true. And
like Nancy.
And what's going to happen if you do elect or re-elect a particular candidate? Are you going to be forgotten? Which happens 99% of the time, because you're forgotten until the next election cycle. Is that what's going to happen? Because if that's what's going to happen, that's not representation. That's not representation. And that's what that's what you're voting for, representation. Yeah. And I can tell you now that the Coogan administration has not represented me 100%. But I will also tell you that no administration is going to represent me 100%, because we're always going to have differences in philosophies, in political stance, on issues, and that's okay. That's what makes a good government, because you can debate those issues. But if you can't debate them because your elected official won't talk to you, won't provide you with information, won't do anything to communicate their plan, then what good is it? Because what's happened with this administration is if they don't agree with you, they cut you out. They block you out. And, we're not the only ones that have been blocked out. Okay? There are other people that have been blocked out. You have people that have gotten to the point where they've said, I will not communicate with the mayor unless it's in writing, email or letter, because they don't trust this administration.
I think it's a situation to who they truly serve. And I think that if you read the list of campaign contributors, if those are the people that are being served, they're not serving the general public.
That's right.
Because listen, we are by nature people who are involved in a political process. And I can see them not being real happy with us because we're pretty vocal. But the thing is, the mayor is not elected to service people who give him the money and make sure that the rich get richer. He's here to do the best he can for the city of Fall River. That's for the average voter, the person who's non-political, the person who says, I go to work every day, I try to pay my bills, and you're killing me with taxes and big government. And if you got a mayor that can't remember that, it's time to boot him.
I agree. When the government starts representing you, it's time for somebody new to come in forward and try to represent you. And that's not an easy task in this city, because Fall River voters just say, he's in office, we'll keep him. Doesn't matter how bad he is, we'll keep him. But remember, this administration has raised taxes, raised fees, and didn't care about the people. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't vote for him. If you want to vote for him, knock yourself out. But remember, you're voting for taxes and fees and everything else. And I can't vote for taxes and fees. I just can't do it. It doesn't work that way for me. So remember, tonight, I believe it's at 7 p.m., will be a live debate here on Channel 95. It will also be live on YouTube, on the Fall River Media webpage, and it will be live on Facebook. So get to watch it. And as for the Portuguese debate, we'll know more on Friday if they're going to be airing that live or if it's going to be a taped playback. So I want to thank you for inviting us into your home. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, hold your politicians accountable, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.
And make